уж ты, ель моя, моя.
God bless. Yegor Yevlampovich, Vasilisa.
Why, isn't that groom with his bride?
So, you're keeping your word, Nikolai?
I told you I needed a bride, and with help from you and God, here we are.
The wedding is close. I see you've covered yourselves, as is tradition.
Yes, we needed to have this wedding as soon as possible, so that the Bonics wouldn't drag me back. I understand you have a lot to think about. Vasya, weddings are the least of your worries, but if you can't do it, no one can. You were the matchmaker for me and Nikolai, so you should stand as matchmaker by my side at the wedding.
I have no time to give a dowry at a bachelorette party.
Right. The week has passed. The dowry appeared at my house, and what I lacked, the girls from my village helped out with.
The main thing is you being my matchmaker.
I can't. I have other business.
It's all right, Vasya. You can go. We have some time. And when the wedding passes, a solution to a problem might reveal itself.
You too, old Igor, come. You'll be our master of ceremonies.
What an honor. To what do I owe the pleasure, huh?
Well, you taught Vasilisa and helped with the items for the bride.
That's right. Well, you see, Vasya, how can you say no?
Who did you ask to be your best man?
Petьka, the accordion player. He's an old friend of mine.
Fedьka? What curse can he help you with? How can we attend such a wedding, Grandpa?
Stop it, Vasya. Fedьka will manage. He's a jester, but he can. Besides, we'll be there. We'll help with the evil spirits and Khalduns.
All right. But Fedьka needs looking after, so he won't curse the wedding himself.
Thank you, Vasilisa. I brought a gift for you. I think you'll like it. And it's...
We didn't come only because of the invitation. We need a nowhere's help. My future mother-in-law hired brewers to make beer.
But they quit halfway through. They say demons chased them away. They're beside themselves with fear.
We decided not to approach these demons without you. Maybe it's Banniks trying to interfere with the wedding.
You made a wise choice.
Is the bright side brewing beer?
We decided both sides will brew. The villagers are close to each other.
In Pakcha, where my mother lives, there are some skilled brewers. We hired them. Father is long gone, after all.
What are they saying about Chorts?
Some shadows are being noisy, turning over tubs and whatnot.
See, they're brewing the beer by the river, so I thought that the Aptericha might reveal herself.
When's the wedding day?
Everyone is invited the day after tomorrow. First is the wedding day, and the next day we're going for a ceremony. Not everything is by the book, but you know how it is.
All right, I'll help you. After all, the ceremony is incomplete without beer.
Well, come the day after tomorrow then, if I'm the master of ceremonies.
See you soon. Lord be with you.
Greetings. God bless.
God bless. What brings you here, Your Honor? The stove flap is over there, to your right.
Alexander looks around, perplexed.
Grandpa, he's not here about that. He doesn't know these things either. And the matchmakers come without a groom.
Hello, Vasilisa. I was in the area for business and decided to drop in. I mean, I think you'll also be interested in this case I have. They talk about you and your grandfather quite often. You remember that fired short that tortured the girl in Logova? There's a similar case in the village near Pakcha. It's called Severnaya Settlement.
That's where I'm going to track this chort. So, Severnaya settlement? You start treating them with your methods. Perhaps I'll drop by.
Thank you. Till we meet again.
Hold on. Fancy some tea? Help me move the table first, would you?
Table? No time. My patients are waiting.
Alexander hurriedly leaves your izba. It's getting dark. You keep the black book ready. Khaldoons often put their chorts by the roads, as you have already witnessed several times. Soon, you notice someone's burning eyes under the roots of an old fir tree. Among the treetops, you notice a silent giant. His figure towers over the trees and sheds a dark shadow on the frozen road. You greet the chort, but hear only loud laughter in reply. A sudden wind bends the tall palm. You find the Izba Alexander told you about without any difficulties and question the locals. As it turns out, the husband of the sick woman died recently.
These are fish traps. Looks like her husband used to be a fisherman. The furniture, as well as the rest of the Izba, has fallen into disrepair. It's clear that the woman can't look after the house alone.
You open the chest and are hit with a foul stench. Inside lie everyday items of the woman and several linen sacks. You wince in disgust. The sacks contain horse manure, wriggling with worms. These are the gifts of a demon. To cursed people, they seem like gold and prianics. Bed sheets and towels, nothing of interest. You wince in disgust. The sacks contain horse manure.
Let me be. I need to rest. The fever won't let me be.
Vasilisa, it's so good that you're here.
Alexander coughs and glances at your book.
Did you examine the sick woman?
Yes. The case is indeed similar to that, and the woman is weak. But it's not so bad as that.
It's still early. The demon only started coming to her. What is she saying about the chort?
There was no mention of chorts. You think they're to blame? But the symptoms are rather strange. I thought it to be anemia and nervousness.
It seems strange because it's not a simple sickness. She can't tell because the demon has some...
What should we do?
The snake doesn't appear often in the beginning. We'll have to make it. If she tells me about it, it will surely come. It's late. It will try to kill us.
Right? I won't stand in your way.
Let me be. I need to rest. The fever won't let me be.
They say you became a widow. Oh, Jesus Christ, may he rest in peace.
Yes, he died, but I'm managing.
Sometimes dead husbands come back from the afterlife. Have you heard of that?
What kind of story is that? That sort of thing never happens, Lord.
Don't try to be cunning with me. I've seen all kinds of charts, and I can sense the walking dead from a mile away.
Phew, witch! What could you know about me and my Vasya? You know nothing.
Maybe I'll be able to convince her if I pretend to be her acquaintance. So, what did her husband do? Perhaps he was a fisherman. Looks like it. What do you mean? I know you through my godfather. He used to go fishing with your Vasily quite often.
He won't be fishing any now. He's dead, I'll tell you. Go away. You and your groom, let me rest.
She still doesn't believe me. How can I convince her that everything's not so simple with her guest? You have a large chest. Did Chords bring it?
What a silly thing.
I know who is to blame for your sickness.
All right, I'll tell you. My husband didn't.
You hear the sound of scattering sparks. A fire chort, familiar to you, emerges from the stove, and it immediately turns into a human. You find the Izba Alexander told you about without...
These are fish traps. Looks like her husband used to be a fisherman. The furniture, as well as the rest of the Izba, has fallen into...
Vasilisa, it's so good that...
Alexander...
Yes, the woman is...
It's still early. What is she...
But the...
It seems
What?
the snake, if she tells me...
You open the chest and are hit with a foul stench. You wince in disgust. The sacks, bed sheets, and towels. Nothing of interest.
Let me be. I need to rest.
They say you became...
Yes.
Sometime... Don't try to... Phew. Maybe I'll be able to convince her. Perhaps he was... What do you mean?
He won't be...
She still doesn't believe me. How can I convince her that everything's not so simple with her guest? You think your Vasily brings you sweets? Take a closer look.
Jesus! What have you done, witch?
I know who is to blame for your sickness. If you want to live, you must tell me.
All right, I'll tell you, but don't you tell anyone. My husband didn't die. He still visits me in the evenings, but he told me to keep quiet. People won't understand.
You hear the sound of scattering sparks. A fire chort, familiar to you, emerges from the stove, and it immediately turns.
Again with your plots, witch! Don't interfere with my business.
You want to kill me? Didn't work out for you last time.
Ha! Kill? I have another purpose. You stopped me here, but I'll find other creatures.
Not so fast. You can't hide from me in my uyezd.
That may be so. That's why you will be busy with my new friends.
A couple of chorts appear near him, while he himself turns into a fiery. You can catch up with that chort if you don't spend time on these demons. But what will happen to the sick woman? You open the book and read the first. You defeated the Chorts, and the woman seems to be safe now. But how many souls will this fiery snake ruin? No one knows the answer to this question. You can only continue on your way. You notice the pale heads of the drowned, looking out of the water. They are almost certainly waiting for a careless victim to drag under. You open the book and read the first Zagavr. Life goes on as usual in the sleepy Pakcha village. The peasants have returned from their work and fill the village with hearth fire glimmers shining from tall windows. The shop is still open. The peasants answer your questions with enthusiasm when they learn that you are the knower matchmaker they have heard of. According to the villagers of Pakcha, they seldom encounter wonders in their mundane life. Everyone laughs at the men who were brewing beer. Supposedly, they were so carried away with their work that they saw the devil himself. You whisper a prayer and catch your breath. You easily find the home of the peasants who brewed beer, but their izba looks empty. You look into the galbets and see a man who is putting crosses.
Christ almighty, what are you scaring me for? I nearly died.
I knocked, didn't you hear? I'm here about the wedding. They asked to bring beer.
We couldn't cook the beer to the end, you understand? The bride is a chort in disguise, everyone knows that. So some of them sharp-tailed visited us. We barely managed to escape. With God's help, I'll bless the ingredients. We managed to brew the mash, then added hops to the cauldron. Everything with God's words, everything proper. A pound of hops and a pound of malt. And then a demon showed up. Lord have mercy.
Tell me about the demon you saw.
Someone cursed us. That must be it. Looked like a lump of meat that kept glaring at us. So we ran. Left everything there. We prepared part of it, but we're too scared to go there now.
So you brewed everything by the book?
Everything as it should be, with prayers and a quote. First, the girls came to us from the bride's side, tried to put out the fire. Then, later, closer to the evening, a man came along. And at nightfall, it all began. The bride's cursed, so the devil showed up.
What man?
I don't know. Didn't have the chance to look at him proper. He stood for some time in the distance, and then left.
Did you brew by the river?
Right. Wait, you're going there now? This late? You'll be killed.
It's all right. I have God's word with me. The devil will have to retreat.
Well, God be with you. Go to the east of the last Isba. You won't miss it.
At the crossroads of two trade routes, you see the annual fair. Despite
Be wise and go forth. Knowledge will serve as your daily.
You hear the lingering sounds of songs long known to you. At one of the izbas, you sit by a house and dissolve in a deep song. It's quiet in the brewing area. Too quiet. You anxiously look around. Evil spirits,
Here's where the mash was cooked. There's some left at the bottom. Here are some barrels filled with beer that's already been brewed. I think that if I'm able to chase the evil spirits away, the brewers will be able to take it.
Here is the firewood that the brewers prepared. You take some firewood. There's some dry grass around here. There's some dry grass around. You take some dry grass. This is where they light the fire for brewing beer. You add some firewood. Now you can light the fire. You put some dry grass under the cauldron. Now it will be easier to light the fire. You light the fire and take a step back. A spirit shows itself above the cauldron for a moment, but it soon disappears beneath the oily froth of the beer. The fire is extinguished by the spilled beer. This is where they light the fire for brewing beer.
I can't carry these heavy barrels.
Here is the firewood that the brewers... You take a greater amount of firewood. There's some dry grass around here. It can be used. This is where they light the fire for brewing beer. You add even more firewood. Now the fire will burn brighter than ever. You light the fire and take a step back. The curse falls to the ground as a repulsive ball of foul-smelling wool. This chort was created by a Khaldun. But who would wish harm upon Nikolai? You send the brewers for the intact beer barrels and...
Later, I called some men from Bakcha after I chased away the chort.